Hey guys, how are you today? Quick rant before we dive into today's chaos. As some of you might have noticed, YouTube's algorithm has decided I'm not special anymore. Shocking, I know. So now if you don't like, comment, or do a little backflip in the algorithm's honor, this video might just vanish into the void, never to be seen again. Seriously though, even a hi or "this is wild" in the comments helps way more than you think. It tells YouTube, hey, people actually like this channel. Maybe don't hide it from everyone. That can really help push my videos out to a wider audience, not just to my subscribers. So if you enjoy these stories and want to support the channel, that's the best way to do it. Now grab a drink, get comfy, and enjoy the drama. You won't want to miss this one. Growing up, my family looked perfect from the outside. My dad was a successful businessman, always well-dressed and charming. My mom was a stay-at-home parent who seemed to have it all together. She raised my brother and me, managed the house, supported Dad's career, and somehow did it all without ever complaining. To me, she was the glue that held everything together. She made it all work, and I thought we were solid as a family. But about 2 years ago, that perfect picture fell apart. It turns out my dad had been having an affair for 8 years. 8 years. I can't even describe how it felt hearing that nearly a decade of lies, of betrayal, of him pretending everything was fine. My mom was completely blindsided. Honestly, we all were. But the way my brother reacted to it hit me even harder than the affair itself. While I was busy trying to comfort my mom and make sense of what Dad had done, my brother did a complete 180. He sided with my dad. I couldn't believe it. His reasoning, he said there was no point in supporting a dependent, weak housewife who should have seen it coming. Those were his exact words, and they hit like a punch to the gut. It wasn't just cruel. It was like he erased everything our mom had done for us, like her whole life had no value. I'll never forget the look on her face when he said that. It was like she was being crushed under the weight of everything all at once. My mom had sacrificed so much for us. She gave up her career, her independence, and even her social life, because she wanted to focus on us and build a good home. And then when she needed support the most, my brother not only turned his back on her, he practically spat on everything she stood for. And it didn't stop there. He started playing happy family with Dad, like none of this was a big deal. He even moved in with Dad and began spending time with Dad's mistress, treating her like she was some sort of replacement mom. I was floored. I couldn't understand how he could just switch sides like that, as if our mom didn't matter at all. Meanwhile, my mom's world completely fell apart. She had no savings, no income, no backup plan. Her whole life had been wrapped up in supporting our family, and now she was left with nothing. It was heartbreaking to see, but somehow she didn't let it destroy her. Instead, she surprised me. She decided to start over. She went back to school, earned certifications, and got back into the workforce. She worked her way up in human resources and became financially independent again. It wasn't easy. I saw how hard she struggled, how many nights she cried when no one was watching, but she kept going. Watching her rebuild her life from the ground up was one of the most inspiring things I've ever seen. At the same time, it broke my heart because she deserves so much better than what life handed her. Fast forward to now, and things have taken a strange turn. My dad passed away unexpectedly a couple of weeks ago. I'm still processing it. I had distanced myself from him and my brother after everything went down, so we weren't exactly close when he died. But I never thought I'd lose him so suddenly. It's weird. I feel a mix of things. There's sadness because he was still my dad, but there's also anger and unresolved hurt. It's complicated. What really shocked me wasn't just my dad's passing. It was the aftermath. My dad left behind a significant fortune, close to $1 million. When the will was read, though, I was floored. We don't exactly know who got what we do know was that he left nothing to my mom or me. Not a single penny. I mean, I guess I shouldn't have been surprised after everything, but it still hit me like a punch to the gut. Don't get me wrong, it's not like I was expecting $500,000 or anything. I had no plans for his money. But here's the thing. My mom stood by him for decades. She was the reason he was able to build that fortune in the first place. She took care of him, the house, and us so he could focus on his career. In a way, She invested in his success just as much as he did. And now, after all that, he completely cut her out. It felt like the ultimate slap in the face, like a final act of betrayal from beyond the grave. But you know what? My mom took it better than I expected. 2 years ago, I think this would have crushed her. But now, she's not the same woman she was back then. She's strong. She's independent. She's built a new life for herself, and she's determined to keep moving forward no matter what. In fact, she's been helping me in ways I never thought possible. She's even helping me buy a house, my house. If you had told me a couple of years ago that she'd be in a position to do something like this after everything she's been through, I wouldn't have believed it. But here we are. She's proof that no matter how badly life knocks you down, you can get back up and come out stronger on the other side. Now, here's where things get messy again. My brother, ever since Dad passed, he's been blowing up my phone. Calls, texts, voicemails, you name it. At first, I didn't even want to open them, but eventually I did. And he's been apologizing a lot. He says he made a mistake, that he misjudged the situation, that he was blinded by Dad's influence. He says he wants to reconnect and fix things between us. Honestly, I don't know how to feel about it. Part of me wants to believe him. I mean, he's my brother. We grew up together. We share so many memories, good ones before all of this mess happened. But another part of me can't help but feel suspicious. Why now? Why the sudden change of heart? Is it guilt? Maybe he feels bad now that Dad's gone and realizes he's pushed the rest of us away. Or maybe he's just uncomfortable, sitting with the consequences of his choices, and wants someone to validate him. I don't know. What I do know is that his actions cut deep. Watching him side with Dad and his mistress while Mom was falling apart was one thing. But the way he dismissed her, called her weak and dependent, acted like everything she did for us was meaningless. It felt personal. And then on top of that, he played happy family with Dad and his mistress like none of it mattered. It's hard to look past that, and now with him reaching out constantly, I feel like I'm being pressured to forgive and forget, like I'm the one holding up this invisible wall between us. But it's not that simple. Forgiveness isn't something you can just hand out like candy. And honestly, I don't even know if I want to reconcile. Am I being too harsh? Maybe. I've asked myself that question a lot, but at the same time, I feel like I'm setting boundaries. My brother hurt me, and my mom deeply, and it's hard to trust that his sudden regret is real. What if I let him back in and he hurts us again? I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, where do I draw the line? On one hand, he's my brother. There's a part of me that wants to believe we can fix this. On the other hand, some things feel unforgivable. And right now, I don't know if I can let go of what he's done. Am I wrong for feeling this way? Should I give him a second chance? Or is it okay to just protect my peace and move on without him in my life? I'd love to hear some advice because honestly, I'm stuck, not the a-hole. OP's brother didn't wake up one day full of remorse. He woke up one day broke. That's a huge difference. When OP's mom was on the floor emotionally, financially, and practically, he stepped over her to go live with the man who blew up his family and the woman who helped him do it. He didn't just stay neutral, he actively called his mom weak, dependent, and basically blamed her for being cheated on. Now the golden ticket he bet on, Dad and this fantasy of inheritance, evaporated, and suddenly the weak mother and irrelevant sister are looking pretty stable and safe. I don't buy for a second that this is about love or guilt. He's panicking and doesn't want to sit alone in the mess he helped create. So he's trying to drag OP and her mom back into the role of emotional and maybe even financial crutches. OP is not obligated to give him that just because they share DNA. And now let's hear community's opinion. Your mom is a powerhouse, and I wish she could see herself the way strangers on the internet do. She was a stay-at-home mother who got discarded like a used napkin, had her whole life pulled out from under her, and still managed to go back to school, requalify, build a career, and end up in a position where she's helping you buy a house. That's not weak. That's the definition of strong, resilient, and resourceful. Your brother saw a woman who sacrificed everything for her family and decided that made her less worthy of respect. That's not just misogynistic, it's cruel and deeply ungrateful. And now he wants the benefits of her strength without ever having respected it. You're not wrong for being suspicious. He didn't apologize when he was comfortable and thriving. He started apologizing when the cash flow got redirected and he got cut out. That timing tells you everything you need to know. Forgiveness and reconciliation are two totally different things, and I think that's where you're stuck. You can eventually let go of the anger for your own peace and still decide you don't want this man in your life. I hope you figure yourself out, but you don't get access to me or my mom anymore, is a valid response. He didn't just hurt you once. He chose his side, doubled down, and insulted your mom's entire existence as if she was disposable because she didn't bring in a paycheck. That's not a simple misunderstanding. That's a value system. And look at his behavior now. Instead of sitting with what he did, truly owning it, and saying, "I was cruel, I was wrong, and I will accept that you may never forgive me," he's already pressuring you, guilt-tripping, and framing this like you are the barrier to family unity. That's not remorse. That's manipulation wrapped in self-pity. You're absolutely allowed to say, "No, I believe you're sorry about the consequences, not your choices, and I'm not risking my peace or my mom's healing for that." Not the a-hole. And please stop asking if you're too harsh. You sound incredibly measured for someone who watched her mom be emotionally destroyed and then rebuilt from zero. You set one very reasonable boundary. I don't trust you yet, and I don't have to let you back into my life just because it's convenient for you now. That's not cruelty. That's self-preservation. If your brother truly wanted to make amends, he'd be focusing on actions that help your mom without expecting access, money, or emotional comfort in return. He'd be sending a sincere apology that doesn't defend what he did. He'd be offering to support her somehow, not circling like a vulture, now that he's realized he's not in the will. Until you see that kind of behavior consistently over time, you're absolutely right to keep your distance. Protect your mom. Protect your peace. People who called you weak and worthless when they were up don't suddenly become safe just because they're down. Update 1. It's been a few days since I posted, and I've spent a lot of time going through all your comments and messages. First off, I want to thank everyone who took the time to share their perspectives. It's comforting to know I'm not alone in feeling so conflicted about this situation. So many of you pointed out that forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean reconciliation, and that really struck a chord with me. I've been reflecting on what forgiveness might look like for me, and I think at its core, it's about finding peace for myself, not about fixing things with my brother or pretending the past didn't happen. But here's the thing, forgiveness isn't a switch you can flip. It's not about just saying, "I forgive you," and everything magically feels better. It's about truly letting go of the resentment and the hurt. And that's not something I'm ready for right now. If I'm being honest, I don't even know if I want to try yet. Every time I think about my brother's actions, it feels like I'm back in that same moment of betrayal, reliving all the pain he caused. Not just to me, but especially to Mom. Watching her struggle to rebuild her life from nothing while my brother played house with Dad and his mistress. It's something I'll never forget. Even so, I decided to respond to one of his messages. I didn't want to ignore him entirely, because as much as I'm hurt, I wanted to hear what he had to say. I kept my response short and neutral, just asking why he's reaching out now and what he's hoping to achieve. His reply was complicated. He admitted that he feels guilty and has been struggling with how things turned out between us. He told me he misses our relationship and wants to make things right. On the surface, that sounds good, right? But then he followed it up by defending his actions, saying he was just trying to support Dad in a difficult time. That part really rubbed me the wrong way. It felt like he was trying to justify what he did, rather than taking full responsibility. When the affair first came out, I remember how quick he was to side with Dad. He didn't just pick a side, he doubled down, calling Mom weak and clingy, and saying she was too dependent on Dad. He acted like everything she did for us, raising us, taking care of the house, supporting Dad's career, was some kind of flaw. I'll never forget how furious those words made me. And to be honest, they still sting. It's hard to believe someone has changed when they can't even fully acknowledge the hurt they caused. Meanwhile, my mom is taking a different approach. She's always been the kind of person who believes in second chances, even when people don't really deserve them. She thinks my brother's reaching out because he's genuinely realized his mistakes, and she's even suggested meeting with him to talk things through. Nothing is set in stone yet, but I know she's open to the idea of rebuilding their relationship. Part of me admires her strength after everything she's been through. It's amazing that she can still find it in herself to give people the benefit of the doubt, but another part of me worries she's setting herself up to be hurt all over again. My brother's words and actions back then weren't just impulsive, they were cruel. And the fact that he still frames his betrayal as supporting Dad makes me wonder if he's truly sorry, or if he just feels guilty now that Dad's gone and there's no one else left to turn to. I've been thinking a lot about my brother's relationship with our dad. He always seemed to idolize him, probably because Dad fit this image of the strong provider. I think my brother saw Dad as successful and powerful, and Mom as dependent and weak, even though she was the one holding everything together behind the scenes. It's so ironic, because when everything fell apart, it was Mom who rebuilt her life from the ground up. She went back to school, restarted her career, and became financially independent. Wait, if that's not strength, I don't know what is. But back then, all my brother could see was this outdated idea that being a stay-at-home mom somehow made her less valuable. Now that Dad's gone, I wonder if my brother is realizing how much damage he's done. Maybe he feels guilty because he knows he burned every bridge, but doesn't know how to rebuild them. Or maybe he just doesn't want to sit with the discomfort of knowing he betrayed our mom and me. Either way, I'm not sure where that leaves us. Mom's been keeping busy with the house buying process, and I've been helping her out as much as I can. It's been a welcome distraction from all the emotional chaos she's been talking about, how excited she is to decorate and make the place our own. It's nice to see her looking forward to something after everything she's been through. I think she's focusing on the future as a way to heal, and I'm trying to do the same. But every time my phone buzzes with another message from my brother, it drags me back into the past. I've been debating whether to block him altogether, but part of me feels like that would be giving up on any chance of resolution. Then again, maybe that's okay. Maybe it's enough to focus on my mom and myself right now. I'm not sure. I have the emotional capacity to deal with his guilt and excuses on top of everything else. If I do decide to meet with my brother, it's going to be on my terms, and I'm going to make it clear that I'm not interested in hearing excuses or justifications. If he can't take full accountability, there's no point in trying to rebuild anything. Let's see what happens next. Thanks again for all your support and advice. It means more than you know. Update 2. I should have trusted my gut feeling. Last night, things took a turn I didn't see coming. All thanks to a message from none other than my dad's mistress. Yeah, you read that right. She reached out to my mom on Facebook, of all places. At first I thought it was a bad joke or some weird spam, but nope, it was 100% real. Her message said, "You better beware of your son. He's a greedy little man." Naturally, Mom was curious. Who wouldn't be? So she replied and asked what was going on. That's when the mistress, who I guess is now officially Dad's girlfriend, decided to spill the tea. And let me tell you, she didn't hold back. Here's the kicker. Apparently, Dad left his entire $1 million fortune to her. Every single penny. My brother, he got nothing. Zero. I mean, I knew things were messy, but even I didn't see that coming. Now, my brother is losing his mind over it. According to the mistress, he's been harassing her non-stop, accusing her of manipulating Dad into excluding him from the will. He's even threatening to take her to court if she doesn't give him at least 80% of the inheritance as compensation. But here's the thing. She claims Dad's will is airtight. Apparently, he went out of his way to make sure it couldn't be contested. He made it crystal clear to his lawyers and even some of his friends that he didn't trust my brother with money. She even shared some of the things Dad had said about him, like how he thought my brother was irresponsible, spoiled, and always looking for the easy way out. Knowing that, it's not exactly shocking that Dad left him out of the will entirely. What is shocking is how this sheds light on my brother's recent behavior. It's all starting to click now. All those heartfelt messages about wanting to make things right and rebuild our relationship. Yeah, they weren't about guilt or regret. They were about desperation. He's realized that without Dad's money, he's got nowhere else to turn. And who better to lean on than the mom he called weak and the sister he completely ignored for years? The more I think about it, the angrier I get. My brother has always been shameless, but this takes it to a whole new level. For years, he chose Dad's side, dismissed Mom as some dependent housewife, and acted like everything she did for our family meant nothing. He didn't just burn bridges, he nuked them. And now, when he's out of options, he has the audacity to come crawling back, hoping we'll swoop in and save him from the mess he made. What really breaks my heart is watching Mom wrestle with all of this. She's always been the forgiving type, no matter how much someone hurt her. And even now, after everything my brother said and did, I can see that part of her still wants to give him another chance. She keeps saying things like, "He's still my son." And I can tell she's torn. On one hand, she wants to believe he's genuinely sorry. On the other hand, she's scared of getting hurt again. To make things even messier, the mistress, or should I call her girlfriend now, has been sharing more details about her relationship with Dad and the circumstances around the will. Apparently, Dad wasn't exactly living the dream in his final years. She said he was under a lot of financial pressure and was mostly just trying to keep up appearances. Sure, the $1 million fortune sounds impressive, but most of it is tied up in investments and property. On paper, it's a lot, but it's not like there's a pile of cash sitting in a bank somewhere. She also hinted at something that was hard to hear. Dad had apparently been planning to cut my brother out of his life entirely. Not just the will, she didn't go into much detail, but it sounded like their relationship had been deteriorating for a while. It's a lot to process. Honestly, I'm not sure how much of it is true, but if it is, it makes my brother's current behavior even sadder. Mom and I have been talking a lot about what to do next, and honestly, we're in different places about how to handle my brother. She's leaning toward meeting him and hearing him out. She says it's because she wants to give him a chance to explain himself, but I can't help feeling like it might just give him another opportunity to twist the situation or guilt her into helping him. He's already shown how manipulative he can be, and I don't want her to get hurt again. I've been reminding her of all the things he said and did back when Dad's affair first came out. It wasn't just that he sided with Dad, he tore her down in the process. He called her weak, said she was dependent and couldn't survive without Dad, and basically made her out to be a burden. Those words were cruel then, and they still sting now. How can we just forget all of that? How can we trust someone who saw our pain and dismissed it like it was nothing? Still, I'm trying to be supportive of Mom while she works through her feelings. She's been through so much, finding out about Dad's betrayal, rebuilding her life from the ground up, and now dealing with this mess with my brother. I don't want to add to her stress. Lately, she's been focusing on the house we're working on buying together. It's been a good distraction for her, but I can tell this whole situation is weighing on her more than she lets on. I'm doing my best to help her, whether that's making sure the house buying process goes smoothly, or just being there to listen when she needs to talk. Meanwhile, my brother hasn't let up. If anything, his messages have been getting more frequent and way more desperate. He shifted gears from apologizing to full-on guilt-tripping. He keeps saying things like, "Family is all we have left," or "Dad wouldn't want us to be divided like this." Every time I read one of his texts, I can't help but roll my eyes. Where was this concern for the family when he was living it up with Dad and his mistress? Where was this loyalty when Mom was left to pick up the pieces of her life with zero support from him? I haven't replied to his recent messages, and honestly, I don't know if I will. I've been thinking a lot about what it means to set boundaries and protect my peace. Letting him back into my life feels like opening the door to more drama, more hurt, and more manipulation. And the thing is, I'm not sure I'm ready or even willing to deal with all that again. For now, I'm just taking it one day at a time, focusing on what matters most: Mom, the house, and our future. Update 3. This will probably be my final update. After the conversation between Mom and Dad's girlfriend, Celia, it didn't take long for my brother to figure out that we knew the full story. I'm not entirely sure how he found out. Maybe Celia told him, or maybe he just pieced it together from how we were acting. Either way, it didn't take him long to make his next move. While I was out of town for work, he showed up at Mom's house completely unannounced. From what she told me, he came in guns blazing, trying to convince her that everything Celia had said about him was a lie. He claimed he was being unfairly painted as the bad guy, which is ironic considering how he's acted this entire time. But Mom, being the calm and composed person she is, didn't let him rile her up. Instead, she went straight to the point and asked him a simple question. Did this mean he didn't want Dad's money? His response: a quick flat-out denial. He tried to spin it like he was there for the sole purpose of reconnecting with her, but Mom wasn't having it. She called him out, asking him why he sided with Dad in the first place when everything fell apart. She also pointed out how he'd benefited from Dad's favoritism and wealth for years, while she was left to pick up the pieces. Mom told me later that he didn't have much of an answer to that. He just kept circling back to how Celia was lying and how unfair everything was. At some point, he even tried to pull the poor me act, but when it became clear Mom wasn't buying it, he left. Of course, not without what Mom called his classic crocodile tears. When I got back from my work trip, I thought the whole ordeal was over, but nope. He came over to my place next. This time, he wasn't trying to play nice at all. He was full-on angry, yelling about how Mom was selfish and accusing me of manipulating her into giving me money for the house. To this day, I still don't know how he even found out about that, but clearly, he's been keeping tabs on us somehow. Mom must have told him I was home because not long after, she came by to check on me. And wouldn't you know it, he showed up at her place again while she was still here. This time, Mom was ready for him. When he accused her of playing favorites and claimed she was giving me everything, she didn't hold back. She calmly explained that she wasn't buying me a house outright. She was just helping me out with some money, which is something she wanted to do. Then she hit him with a reality check. She told him straight up that, unlike Dad, she'd raised a child who could stand on their own 2 feet. She said she wasn't about to apologize for supporting me, especially after everything she'd been through over the years. Her response seemed to catch him off guard. He stood there for a moment like he didn't know what to say, but then he doubled down on his tantrum, shouting about how unfair it all was and accusing us of turning against him. By this point, his yelling was loud enough to attract the attention of a few neighbors, which only made the whole situation more embarrassing. Eventually, when it became clear that neither of us was going to engage with his drama, he stormed off in a huff. The whole ordeal was exhausting and honestly a bit humiliating. But more than anything, it just solidified what I've been feeling for a long time now. Keeping him in my life isn't worth the chaos he brings with him. So, after everything that's happened, I've made the decision to go no contact with my brother, at least for now. It wasn't easy, and I've spent a lot of time thinking it over. But at the end of the day, I have to put my own mental and emotional well-being first. He's shown over and over again that he's not ready to take accountability for his actions or respect the boundaries we've tried to set. Maybe someday I'll feel differently, but honestly, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Right now, I need to focus on the people who genuinely care about me and bring positivity into my life. Mom is doing the same, but it's been especially tough on her. This whole situation has reopened so many old wounds for her. Memories of Dad's affair, their divorce, and everything she went through back then. For a while, I think she really wanted to believe that my brother reaching out meant he had changed, that he was ready to make amends and rebuild their relationship, but his actions have made it painfully clear that's not the case. He's still the same person who sided with Dad and tore her down, and that's a reality she's had to come to terms with. It hurts her, I can see that. But Mom is stronger than she gives herself credit for. I've been encouraging her to focus on her own healing and to prioritize herself for once, something she's not really used to doing. I even brought up the idea of therapy, which I think could be a really helpful outlet for her. She's a little hesitant. She's always been the kind of person who handles things on her own, but she's open to at least considering it. That feels like a step in the right direction, and I hope she gives it a try. This might sound strange, but I've actually found myself feeling a bit grateful to Celia for coming forward with the truth. If she hadn't told us about the will and all the drama surrounding my brother, who knows where we'd be right now? Mom and I might have let him back into our lives only to get hurt all over again. Her honesty, while unexpected, gave us the clarity we needed to make decisions that protect our peace. So, this is where we are now. I'm focusing on supporting Mom, working on the new house, and building a life that feels stable and free from all the chaos we've dealt with over the years. For the first time in what feels like forever, I feel hopeful about the future. I don't know what's ahead, and I don't know if my brother will ever truly change. But what I do know is that I'm not going to let him or anyone else drag me or Mom back into that toxic mess. We've come too far, and we deserve better. To everyone who's followed along and shared advice or words of encouragement, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support has meant so much to me, and I'll always be grateful for it. Here's to fresh starts and brighter days ahead.